climate change, and food security. Climate change is the long-term shift in weather patterns that are mainly caused by the human activities, such as burning fossil fuels. It leads to an extreme weather events such as floods and also heat waves. While food security can be defined as having reliable access to enough safe and nutritious food. When climate change disrupts farming, fishing, and food distribution, it directly threatens food security. In this documentary video, we are going to dive deeper about the climate change and food security. So, what are the relationship between climate change and food security? Climate change alters rainfall, temperature, and weather extremes. These changes directly affected agriculture, fisheries, and also livestock. While food security depends on stable production, access, and affordability of food. When climate change disrupts all of this, it reduces the availability and raises prices, making it harder for communities, especially vulnerable ones, to access nutritious food.
New York City is full of landmarks, and one is being reprogrammed to bring awareness to climate change. Previously, Union Square's famed 15-digit clock displayed the current time on the left side and the time left remaining in the day on the right. Now, the clock, which stretches 62 feet, will count down the amount of time left to take action and prevent the effects of global warming from becoming irreversible.
A rise of 3 degrees would affect everyone. Even wealthy cities and rich countries wouldn't be immune to the consequences. European capitals like Paris and Berlin would bake under more extreme heat waves. Frequent storm surges in New York could turn parts of the city desolate.
Heat waves, droughts, extreme precipitation, even fire. 3 degrees of warming is really disastrous.
Children born today are up to 7 times more likely to face extreme weather than their grandparents. If global temperatures do rise by 3 degrees, what would their world look like?
What are your thoughts on climate change?
I think that there are many problems concerning climate change. For starters, global climate change is everyone's problem, but we approach it as if it only affects some people. The biggest issue that I have personally is that people with money and resources that can make an impact, but they don't do it. We're really close to reverse the damage, but we're all too busy fighting about other stuff that isn't as important.
What are some things that we as a community could do to prevent climate change?
For starters, everyone together nationwide can put laws in place to help the planet. Specifically, Texas state doesn't enforce basic things like recycling.
In today's world, Two of the most pressing challenges we face are climate change and food security. These aren't separate issues, they are deeply interconnected. What exactly the effects of climate change towards the food security in Malaysia? Globally, climate change threatens food security by breaking down every single link in the food chain, and Malaysia is no exception. Let's see exactly how changing climate is putting our food system at risk. One of the issues is declining yields. This means farmers are harvesting less from the same piece of land despite using the same methods and resources. Rising temperatures, unpredictable rainfall, and prolonged droughts are disrupting normal farming cycles. When paddy production drops, the entire food supply chain is shaken, and that threatens the availability of food for everyone.
Way off track with the goals outlined.
Then there are extreme weather events issue.
How bad is Malaysia's heat wave getting? Some parts of the country are now hitting 38 degrees Celsius.
A storm accompanied by heavy rain and strong winds swept through parts of Berchem in Ipoh, Perak.
On March 6, 2026, the city of Cyberjaya, located in the Sepang district, was hit by powerful squalls caused by a sudden intensification of a thunderstorm front over western.
Floods, droughts, heatwaves, and storms that are becoming more frequent and intense because of climate change. These events don't just damage crops, they destroy entire farming systems. Floods can destroy paddy fields and wash away crops at critical growth stages. Droughts reduce water levels that crops need to survive. Heat waves decrease soil moisture, which is essential for healthy crop development. These are not just isolated problems, they directly interfere with planting, growing, and harvesting cycles. This is what will affecting the food security in Malaysia. Climate change also fuels pests and disease outbreaks. As temperatures rise and weather patterns shift, pests like bagworms, rhinoceros beetles, and termites, along with diseases like Ganoderma, are thriving in new environments. Studies show that for every degree of temperature increase, crop losses from pests can rise by 10 to 25%. These outbreaks don't just reduce the quantity of food produced, they also affect quality and safety in the food production.
Climate change has made it increasingly difficult for Malaysia to produce enough food for citizens. Our country grows important crops such as rice, fruits, vegetables, and palm oil. However, these crops depend on suitable weather conditions to grow well. In addition, extreme weather events such as floods and heavy rainfall can destroy crops, damage irrigation systems, and wash away fertile soil. On the other hand, prolonged drought reduces the water supply needed for farming, which makes crop production even more challenging. Climate change also affects livestock due to higher temperatures, which can cause heat stress in animals. This will reduce their productivity and affecting the supply of meats, milk, and other livestock products. Likewise, the fisheries sectors also are under threat because rising ocean temperatures and changes in fish breeding habitat, which can reduce fish population. As a result, local food production decreases, which making Malaysia more dependent on imported food. Besides that, food prices will go higher due to extreme weather such as floods and droughts because the agriculture production is reduced while demand remains high. When there is less food available but demand increases, food prices will naturally rise. In addition, climate change not only affects food production in Malaysia but also in other countries, since Malaysia imports a significant amount of food, including grains, meats, and vegetables. Natural disasters overseas can increase import prices. Then government have to import foods from overseas with higher prices when Malaysia cannot produce enough food locally, which can affect for the consumers. Higher temperatures and changing weather conditions encourage the growth of crop plus insect and plant diseases, which can damage crops and reduce food quality and nutrition. Floods also increase the risk of contamination by spreading harmful bacteria, chemicals, and pollutants into water sources. This can increase the chances of foodborne diseases and other health problems. Furthermore, extreme weather events can reduce the availability of fresh fruits, vegetables, and other nutritious foods. Children, older adults, and low-income groups are vulnerable because they are more likely to suffer from malnutrition and related health issues if they cannot access nutritious food.
Our first suggestion is to promote climate smart agriculture, also known as CSA. Climate change has caused higher temperatures and longer periods of drought, making it increasingly difficult for farmers to maintain healthy crops. Farmers can adopt sustainable practices such as planting drought-resistant crops and using drip irrigations to save water while maintaining healthy crop growth. Crop rotation and crop diversifications also reduce the risk of total crop failure during extreme weather, helping farmers produce food more consistently. The Malaysia government should provide funding, technical support, and training programs to help farmers. Our second suggestion is to strengthen disaster risk management and early warning system. Climate change has increased floods, droughts, and storms. Government should invest in weather forecasting technology and climate monitoring system to provide timely warning for farmers. Early warning help farmers harvest crop earlier, protect livestock, and reduce losses before disaster occurs. Our third suggestion is to improve food supply chain resilience and reduce food loss caused by climate change. Governments and private sector should invest in better transportation, storage facilities, and cold chain logistics. This improvement help preserve food quality and reduce post-harvest losses during transportations. At the same time, raising public awareness about reducing household food waste can improve food availability and contribute to environmental sustainability. The final suggestion is to increase government investment and strengthen policy support for agriculture. Farmers need stronger financial assistance to adapt. The government should invest in agricultural research and climate adaptation programs to support farmers. Subsidies and low-interest loans can help farmers adopt modern technologies and sustainable farming practices. Together, strong policies and cooperation will help protect Malaysia's food security for future generations.
Through this study, we learned that climate change and food security are closely interconnected. Climate change directly affects food security because change in weather patterns, such as rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, Unpredictable rainfalls and floods reduce agricultural productivity and disrupt food production. When crops are damaged or harvest decline due to these extreme weather events, the food supply becomes limited. As a result, food price increase, making it more difficult, especially for low-income households, to access sufficient and nutritious food. This shows that the impact of climate change extends beyond the environment. It directly threatens people's food security and overall well-being. We also learn that farmers are among the most vulnerable groups, since their livelihood depends on the stable weather conditions. Climate change reduces both their crop yields and their income. This not only affects farmers but also influences the availability and affordability of food for the entire population. Therefore, strengthening food security requires addressing climate change at the same time. Government need to implement climate adaptation policies and support sustainable agriculture, while farmers can adopt climate-resilient farmers techniques. At the same time, individuals can contribute by reducing food waste and supporting environmentally sustainable practices. In conclusion, the most important lesson we learn is that food security cannot be achieved without addressing climate change. By protecting the environment and promoting sustainable agriculture today, we can ensure a stable food supply and build a more resilient future for the next generation.